Heaven's Gate, Bonnie Nettles, and Marshall Applewhite believed they were the two witnesses described in the Book of Revelation. Together, they formed Heaven's Gate, teaching that the human body was a disposable container, something to be abandoned in order to ascend to a higher state of existence. This state, called the next level, was portrayed as an evolutionary leap beyond humanity, where followers would live eternally as perfected extraterrestrial beings. The group taught that Earth was doomed, and only those who followed their strict path could escape. By the mid-1990s, they were convinced salvation would arrive in the form of a spacecraft traveling behind the Hale-Bopp comet. Members cut ties with family, gave away possessions, and retreated from the outside world. In March 1997, the group posted a final message online, calling it their graduation to the next level. Soon after, 39 bodies were found neatly arranged in a California mansion, each wearing identical clothing and covered with a purple shroud. They had died in a coordinated mass suicide, believing their souls were now aboard the passing spacecraft. The People's Temple. In the 1950s in Indianapolis, Jim Jones founded the People's Temple, preaching a unique mix of Christian revivalism, socialist ideals, and racial equality. The early message drew hundreds, but as the years passed, Jones's sermons turned darker and more controlling. Reports of beatings, financial exploitation, and threats began surfacing. Under pressure, Jones moved his followers to Guyana, creating a remote settlement called Jonestown. Promoted as a socialist paradise, it was in reality isolated, overcrowded, and tightly controlled. In November 1978, U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan visited to investigate abuse claims. Several members told Ryan they wanted to leave. On the way to the airstrip, Temple gunmen opened fire, killing Ryan, 3 journalists, and others. That night, Jones addressed the community over loudspeakers, framing the attack as the point of no return. He urged everyone to take cyanide-laced Flavor Aid. Over 900 people died, more than a third of them children. Some who resisted were injected by force. The event became one of the largest mass deaths in modern history. Aum Shinrikyo. In Japan, Shoko Asahara built Aum Shinrikyo into a powerful doomsday cult, blending Buddhist and Hindu beliefs with his own apocalyptic visions. Claiming to be both Christ and the Lamb of God, he promised salvation only through obedience to him. Asahara's prophecies centered on a coming global war, supposedly triggered by the United States, that would wipe out most of humanity. Members believed killing enemies could save their souls from bad karma. The cult stockpiled chemical weapons and even attempted to develop biological agents. On March 20, 1995, they released sarin gas in the Tokyo subway during morning rush hour. 13 people died and over 1,000 suffered serious injuries. The attack shocked Japan, a country largely unaccustomed to terrorism on its soil. Police raids uncovered a network of laboratories, weapons, and torture chambers. In 2018, Asahara and 12 others were executed for their crimes. Movement for the restoration of the 10 Commandments of God. In Uganda, Credonia Murinda and Joseph Kibwetere claimed to have visions of the Virgin Mary and founded a group obsessed with following the 10 Commandments to the letter. Speaking was restricted to avoid breaking the 9th commandment, "Thou shalt not bear false witness." They predicted the end of the world would occur on December 31, 1999. Followers sold possessions, gave away land, and prepared for the final day. When nothing happened, tensions rose. Leaders quickly set a new date, March 17, 2000. That morning, over 500 followers entered a sealed church for what was described as a celebration feast. Hours later, the building erupted in fire and explosions. Investigations later revealed other members had been poisoned or strangled in the days prior. The death toll exceeded 900. None of the group's top leaders were ever found. Church of the Lamb of God. Ervil LeBaron was a polygamist leader and the founder of the Church of the Lamb of God, a violent breakaway from another Mormon fundamentalist sect. He preached blood atonement, claiming that some sins could only be cleansed through death. Under his command, rivals, defectors, and even family members were targeted for assassination. From prison, LeBaron wrote a 500-page Book of the New Covenant, which included a kill list of around 50 names and instructions for future leaders. After his death in 1981, his teenage sons fought for power, carrying out more murders in his name. The group's violence continued for years, leaving a lasting stain on the communities it touched, the Manson family. Charles Manson built his following from the free-love anti-establishment culture of late 1960s California. Many of his followers were young women who saw him as a charismatic prophet. Manson warned of an impending race war he called Helter Skelter. In August 1969, he ordered followers to carry out brutal killings to spark the chaos he predicted. The most infamous attack claimed the life of actress Sharon Tate and four others at her Los Angeles home. The next night, the group murdered Leno and Rosemary LaBianca in a similarly brutal fashion. The killings horrified the public and marked the symbolic end of the 1960s counterculture era. 1950. NXIVM was marketed as a self-help and leadership training organization led by Keith Raniere. Behind the scenes, a secret subgroup called DOS operated as a master-slave network. Women in DOS were branded with Raniere's initials, forced to provide compromising material, and pressured into sexual relationships. Victims were told this was a path to empowerment, but it was actually a system of blackmail and control. After an extensive FBI investigation, Raniere was arrested in 2018. The following year, he was convicted of racketeering, sex trafficking, and other crimes, receiving a 120-year prison sentence. Penza recluses. In Russia's Penza region, Pyotr Kuznetsov led a small apocalyptic sect that believed government ID systems were the mark of the beast. In late 2007, up to 35 followers retreated into a cave, sealing the entrance and vowing to remain until the end of the world in May 2008. Kuznetsov was absent. He'd already been detained by authorities. Over the months, the group endured food shortages, collapsing tunnels, and toxic fumes from two bodies decomposing inside. Most eventually emerged, but the event highlighted how far isolation and doomsday fears could push a community. Order of the Solar Temple. Founded in Switzerland by Joseph de Mombro and Luc Jouret, the Order of the Solar Temple claimed a mystical connection to the medieval Knights Templar. Members believed death was merely a gateway to rebirth on a planet orbiting the star Sirius. When scrutiny from the press and authorities mounted, leaders told followers the time had come to transit to the next life. Between 1994 and 1997, a series of coordinated mass murder-suicides in Switzerland, France, and Canada left 74 people dead. Many were drugged or shot before being arranged in ritualistic patterns. Those who resisted were executed. The Anthill Kids. In Canada, Roch Thériault formed a commune that he claimed would be spared from the coming apocalypse. He called his followers the Anthill Kids because of their endless labor building the settlement, while he did little work himself. As his predictions failed, Thériault's control turned violent. He took every woman as his wife, fathered more than 20 children, and subjected followers to severe physical abuse. Thériault also performed crude, dangerous surgeries on members, one of which led to a woman's death. In 1989, a follower escaped and contacted police, leading to his arrest. He died in prison in 2011 after being murdered by another inmate.